हामीले feminist भनेर त भन्यो तर केलाई feminist भन्ने केलाई who defines what feminism is?
Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode of the Feminist Review Podcast, which is a series of conversations with women, non-binaries and men to co-create and imagine an equitable society. These are personal conversations each individual has shared to either fight for equitable society or co-build that space. These conversations are personal, raw and intimate that discover one's experience in our society around who they are, who they want to be and who they are thought to be. Welcome to the second part of the third episode of the Feminist Review Podcast with Pooja ji and Aakriti ji on 11 Qs. If you haven't already watched the part 1 of this episode, then please go watch it. Link is in the description. Now let's begin the intergenerational conversation by picking one Q at a time.
Learning experience.
Learning experience. More just general life ko bare bhanchu hai. From what I've experienced in my life, there is a certain time frame in life. Junma chai ne, there's certain things that you want to do, ke? Ani tyo chai गरिहाल्नु पर्ने रहेछ के, because you don't remain the same ever. हैन तिमी चेन्ज भइराख्छौ कि तिम्रो पर्सनालिटी चेन्ज हुन्छ, तिम्रो लाइक्स डिसलाइक्स चेन्ज हुन्छ, तिमीले ह्याङ आउट गर्ने मान्छे चेन्ज हुन्छ, त्यो चेन्ज हुँदै जान्छ कि यो लाइफ इज कन्स्टेन्टली इभल्भिङ एन्ड चेन्जिङ हैन. अनि यङ हुँदाखेरि देयर सर्टेन थिङ्स द्याट यु वान्ट टु डु के, त्यो गर्नुपर्ने रहेछ के, नत्र भोलि पर्सि गर्छु भनेर चाहिँ नछोड के. Don't ever do that. That's what I've learned in my life. I did everything that at the moment I was like, I'm going to go get a tattoo, I'm going to pierce my nose, and I'm going to यो गर्छु त्यो गर्छु यो गर्छु गरे के. अनि अहिले त्यो रहर सबै गयो के. Or you know, certain things I still want to do, certain things I don't, हैन. मेरो piercingsहरु झिक्दै. अनि certain things like खाली अब साथीहरुसँग घुम्न जान मन लाग्ने हुन्छ नि, you just like your friends are the most important things to you at a certain point, they're not so important anymore. त्यस्तो हुँदै जाने रहेछ के. So just enjoy yourself. That's my experience sharing.
Thank you. I think I needed to hear that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I needed to hear that. मेरो चाहिँ something that I've learned भनौँ न, as opposed to an experience, is कि just keep asking questions. Like हुन्छ नि, people will tell you something, just be like, why? Just keep on asking questions. हुन्छ नि, त्यो अस्ति I was at a place and someone was like, I said you should be critical, and they were like, what does it mean to be critical? I was like, keep asking questions. So I think if हामी समाजमा कुनै sort of change चाहन्छौँ, or like even in our families हुन्छ नि, कति behaviors आफ्नो बारेमा मन पर्दैन नि, we do something and we go back home, we're like, oh shit, हुन्छ नि, it doesn't sit right with me. Why does it not sit right with me? हुन्छ नि. So just आफ्नो बारेमा पनि becoming introspective, but at the same time just asking.
That's really important. I think like family within families, if you want change, asking questions really helps as well. Okay, मैले notice गरेको चाहिँ नि certain cultural norms हरु हुन्छ नि, यो टीका लाउने यस्तो यस्तो कुराहरु हामीले त blindly follow गरेर हुन्छौं नि हैन. So त्यो किन उलाई पहिले लाइदिने अथवा किन यसरी बस्नु पर्छ भनेर सोधे भने हाम्रो एल्डर्स नै देयर लाइक थाहा छैन खै किन गर्यो, अब हामीले नि त्यस्तै गर्यो भन्नेमा जान्छ नि. बट देन यु क्यान एक्चुअली चेन्ज के, तिमीले अघि तिम्रो ग्रान्डफादरको स्टोरी भने जस्तो थ्रु दिस सटल क्वेसनिङ यु क्यान चेन्ज सोसाइटी राइट देयर. किन टिका नलाइदिने, लाइदियो भइहाल्यो नि भन्यो नि त हैन. द्याट फोर्सेस एभ्रीवन टु थिङ्क के. गुड.
Let's go back. Can we go?
Ooh, I go for the second pink. Oh yeah. Mobility and migration. अब migration को कुरा गर्दा है, I think lots of things come to your mind हैन. मोबिलिटी भन्दा चाहिँ नि, अब मोबिलिटी भन्दा मेरो दिमागमा चाहिँ नि यो इन्टरनल मोबिलिटी आउँछ हैन, यहाँ घरबाट पसल जाने, स्कुल जाने, त्यो टाइप्स. माइग्रेसन इज अभियसली आउटसाइड, तर इट्स नट अलवेज द केस हैन. माइग्रेसन पनि त्यो लेन्सहरु कति धेरै लेन्सले हेर्न मिल्छ के, बिकज प्रिभिलेज माइग्रेसन र के रे त्यो लेबर माइग्रेसन इज कम्प्लिटली डिफरेन्ट नि हैन. हाम्रो पढ्नलाई विदेश जान्छु अथवा जब पाएर बाहिर जान्छु र खाडी मुलुकमा गएर काम गर्छु डोमेस्टिक लेबर भएर इट्स लाइक कम्प्लिटली टु डिफ्रेन्ट एक्सपिरियन्सेस टु डिफ्रेन्ट वेज अफ माइग्रेटिङ अल अफ द्याट बट मलाई एउटा माइग्रेसनमा भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ नि आई जस्ट वान्ट टु मेन्सन वान थिङ होइन मेरो चाहिँ नि नेपाली पासपोर्ट ग्रिन पासपोर्ट भएर माइग्रेट गर्न र मेरो साथीहरू सबैजनाको चाहिँ नि रातो पासपोर्ट माइग्रेट गर्नमा यस्तो डिफरेन्स के होइन एन्ड देयर वाज दिस प्रोसेस अफ एब्सोल्युट डिह्युमनाइजिङ मी होइन त्यो ठ्याक्क बोर्डरमा पुगेपछि के then all of a sudden you're called aside होइन अनि त्यो देखा भन्छ त्यो कोठामा हिँड भन्छ अथवा whatever होइन you're questioned so much whereas a friend of mine who comes from England अहिले त झन् गऱ्यो हिँड्यो गर्न पाइन्छ होइन so त्यो dehumanizing of people during the migratory process continues and it doesn't just happen बाहिर पुगेपछि तर हाम्रो आफ्नै कन्ट्रीमा पनि एकदमै हुन्छ नि होइन जस्तो यो अहिलेको नयाँ यो 5 लाख 10 लाख वाला कुराहरू आइरहेछ नि एन्ड टु से द्याट नेपाली मान्छेको चाहिँ नि के अरे 10 लाख तलब नभइकन वर्षको 10 लाख तलब नभइकन विदेश जान पाउँदैन भनेर आई मिन द्याट्स जस्ट क्रेजी नो हाफ भाउ मिडियाको हाफ अफ द टिम प्रोबब्ली डोन्ट मेक द्याट मच मनी के होइन एन्ड दिज गर्ल्स आर अमेजिङ गर्ल्स नि सो कसरी एक्सक्लुड गरिरहेछ त स्टेटले होइन क्लासलाई लिएर ब्याङ्कमा 5 लाख नभइकन बाहिर जान पाउँदैन भन्छ मेरै छैन ब्याङ्कमा 5 लाख म हाल्न सक्छु होइन तर हाउ मेनी पिपल हेभ 5 lakhs इन देयर अकाउन्ट नट द्याट मेनी नि सो देयर सो मेनी फ्याक्टर्स आई मिन महिला भएको कारणले त झन् यति डिस्क्रिमिनेसन छ होइन अब वी आर थिङ्किङ अबाउट हाम्रो अफिस टु गो अन अ ट्रिप के अनि हामी चाहिँ नि अब थाइल्यान्ड जाने कि इन्डिया जाने भनेर पुरा यहाँ गफ गरिरहेछौँ होइन त्यसपछि अनि ल थाइल्यान्ड गयो भने त फेरि हामी सबैजना सँगै ट्राभल गर्नुपर्छ किनभने हाम्रो अफिसमा भएको यङ बहिनीहरूलाई त फेरि यहाँ रोकिदिन्छ होइन अनि यहाँ रोकिदिँदाखेरि चाहिँ म तिम्रो सबको मम्मी भएर जानुपर्छ है भनेर कुरा गर्छौँ कि वी जोक अबाउट दिस होइन बट दिस ट्रु भोलि a 23-year-old young girl that works in my office, if she was to travel to Thailand by herself, the harassment she would face here in the immigration, it would be crazy just because she's a 23-year-old girl. होइन ऊ त कामको लागि जानला हो नि त तर the harassment she would face तर त्यसको लागि त म भइदिनुपर्छ त्यहाँ होइन सो त्यो levels of discrimination त यति धेरै छ class, gender, everything comes into play during migration. I think borders होइन borders are these like I don't know who conceptualized borders, but मेरो लागि चाहिँ नि I always felt like we need to break this concept of borders. Okay? No countries, no nations, no borders. होइन? We should just be able to move around the world. Ni? Yeah, I can go on and on.
I'll give duita examples. But again, the fact that we've been able to travel is also a huge privilege. होइन? Acknowledging that. दुईवटा कुरा एकचोटि ट्राभल गरिरहेको थियो मसँग अमेरिकन पासपोर्ट होल्डर्स युरोपियन पासपोर्ट होल्डर्स अनि नेपाली ग्रिन पासपोर्ट होल्डर अनि गयो टेबलमा राख्यो उनीहरू यहाँ गयो टेबलमा राख्यो हरियो देख्ने त्यही सिधै उता जा होइन अनि त्यही पुरा पासपोर्ट चेक गर्छ बिकज धेरै त्यो भिजाजहरू त धेरै जान दियो होइन एउटा त्यो अर्को चाहिँ यस्तै ट्राभल गर्ने बेलामा मेरो फ्रेन्डले प्लेनको टिकट काटेको मैले एयरबिएनबीको बुक गरेको थिएँ कि सो ऊ चाहिँ युरोपियन पासपोर्ट होल्डर अनि हेऱ्यो टिकट हेऱ्यो अनि त्यसपछि मलाई चाहिँ सबै हुन्छ नि मेरो इन्सुरेन्स कार्डदेखि लिएर त्यहाँको रेजिडेन्स कार्डदेखि लिएर सबै कुराहरू के एकदम हुन्छ नि अनि माई फ्रेन्ड वाज लाइक मेरो चाहिन्छ त्यो पर्दैन अनि त्यो उयो दुईवटा इन्स्टेन्सेस सो अनि मेरो एक्सपिरियन्स विथ माइग्रेसन इज आई वेन्ट टु खाडी मुलुक टु स्टडी अन अ फुल स्कलरसिप होइन पेड बाई द गभर्मेन्ट सो यहाँबाट जाँदाखेरि कहाँ ट्राभल गरेर भन्दा युए त्यो लाइक अनि द फ्याक्ट कि इङ्ग्लिस बोल्यो नि त इङ्ग्लिस बोल्ने बित्तिकै देयर अलरेडी ओके किन भन्दाखेरि अरूसँग गर्ने बिहेभियर मसँग गर्ने बिहेभियर त मैले पनि देखेँ नि त वाट ह्यापन्स इन कन्ट्रिज लाइक द युए भनौँ न वेयर आई गो एज अ स्टुडेन्ट पढ्नलाई the inherent assumption because my skin is brown is I'm a migrant worker हैन अब किन पनि नहोस् हाम्रो मेजोरिटी पपुलेसन गोज द्याट वर्क अनि द मोमेन्ट फरेर इङ्ग्लिस बोल्न थाले आँखामा त्यो फ्ल्यास हुन्छ कि यु क्यान नोटिस इट हुन्छ नि अनि त्यो पनि अनएक्सेन्टेड इङ्ग्लिस अनि त देयर अलिकति देयर हेजिटेन्ट बिकज दे डोन्ट नो हाउ टु डिल विथ इट And then there's this place where the university pretends कि we're this global university हुन्छ नि हाम्रो उसमा केही प्रब्लमै छैन भनेर के but then the fact कि we as brown students in a place like that face so much microaggressions in the real world त्यो कुरा त address भएन नि त हैन to be able to categorize this as a microaggression is in itself त्यो मैले त 4th year मा निस्किने बेला मात्र यसलाई त microaggression पो भन्दो रहेछ हैन अनि त्यहाँ गएपछि यु वक इन्टु रेस्टरुम्स एन्ड यु हियर नेपाली के होइन त्यहाँ पनि नेपाली सुन्छ यता पनि सेक्युरिटी दाइ दिदीहरू नेपाली सुन्छ एन्ड देयर इज दिस सेन्स अफ गिल्ट कि म त यहाँ सरकारको यिनीहरूकै सरकारको पैसा लिएर बसिरहेको छु एन्ड देयर आर अल दिज नेपाली पिपल हु आर वर्किङ देयर एज अफ होइन त्यहाँ बसेर त्यसरी कि अनि फर्किने बेलामा I had this other person beside me के she introduced herself as Amira के अहिले now that I think of it, I'm not even sure if that was her name. उहाँको घर चाहिँ सोलुखुम्बु भन्नुभएको थियो 55 सालमा जन्मेको म पनि 55 सालमा जन्मेको we just talked हुन्छ नि अनि she was going back home 4 वर्षपछि for the first time म 4 वर्षमा फर्केको 8औं चोटि थियो के नेपाल हैन and she was like खै मलाई त पेरेन्ट्सहरू लिन आउँदै थियो मलाई त पेरेन्ट्सहरू कोही पनि लिन आउनु भएको थिएन कि she was like first time छिर्दाखेरि त she went to इन्डियाबाट यति एउटा झोला मात्र लिएर आएको म त हुन्छ नि she worked as a house worker त्यहाँ मेड भनेर क्या त्यहीँभित्रको कति धेरै डिफिकल्टिजहरू यताउति she was like मलाई अरेबिक पनि बोल्न आउँछ बच्चाहरूसँग सिकेको खालको कुराहरू कि अनि she was like I have a daughter 6 वर्षको अनि she was मेरो एजको कि हुन्छ नि so this whole what this mobility meant for me was an entirely different thing than what it meant for her के अनि कस्तो आई डोन्ट नो त्यो फ्लाइट चाहिँ मिन्स त्यो होल इन्टरेक्सन फिल सो कस्तो नै स्ट्राइकिङ के बिकज म मेरो 4 वर्षको सबै कुरा बन्द गरेर फर्किरहँदा सी वाज अल्सो डुइङ द सेम एक्ज्याक्ट थिङ के अनि द्याट्स द थिङ इफ हाम्रो स्टेटले एभ्री टाइम इट टक्स अबाउट मोबिलिटी माइग्रेसनको कुरा गर्दाखेरि सी ह्याड टु लिभ किन भन्दाखेरि हर हस्बेन्ड वाज अब्युजिभ अनि त्यो भएपछि उसलाई यहाँ नेपालमा जागिर खान केही पनि अप्सन छैन अनि जति धेरै यस्तो खालको नियमहरू लिएर आऊ 5 लाख 10 लाख गर 40 वर्षभन्दा मुनिकोले पर्मिसन माग गरे होइन जति ब्यारियर्स बनाएर चाहिँ त्यति नै हाम्रो लाइफ डिफिकल्ट बनाएर लाइक वुमेन लाइक हर अमिरा सो
and the thing is that हाम्रो स्टेटले चाहिँ नि is not addressing the root cause of whatever the problems are that they want to control migration अनि त्यसपछि त्यो प्रब्लम चाहिँ नि उनीहरूले त्यो रुट कज एड्रेस नगरेर अनि यस्तो चाहिने नचाहिने नियम बनाएर घुमाउँछ के हैन पिपल किन यस्तो माइग्रेट गर्न थालेको त ल्याक अफ अपर्च्युनिटिज जब्स हैन यु कान्ट मेक अ लिभिङ इन दिस कन्ट्री हैन कसरी यार यस्तो महँगो छ हेर न हैन हामी नै वी अर्न अ डिसेन्ट अमाउन्ट अफ स्यालेरी एन्ड इट्स डिफिकल्ट फर अस हैन मैले भने नि मेरो छोरी गोज टु अ प्राइभेट स्कुल इन काठमाडौँ एन्ड इट्स नट इभन लाइक वान अफ द रियली फ्यान्सी स्कुल्स इट्स अ गुड स्कुल हैन तर 1/4 अफ माई स्यालेरी गोज टु हर फी नि हैन र आई अर्न रियली गुड मनी के नेपालको स्ट्यान्डर्डमा हैन मेरो छोरीको स्कुलको फी त कति मान्छेको त मन्थली स्यालेरी हुन्छ नि त हैन सो वाट आर दे सपोज टु डु हाउ आर दे सपोज टु सर्भाइभ हाउ आर दे सपोज टु मेक स्योर देयर चिल्ड्रेन गो टु डिसेन्ट स्कुल्स एन्ड गेट अ गुड एजुकेसन त्यो कजेसहरूतिर चाहिँ जाँदैन के जबहरू बनाउने यान त्यान यतामा जानु पर्यो नि त सरकार हैन हाउ डु यु स्टप ट्राफिकिङ वाइ डु वुमेन गेट ट्राफिक्ड हैन वाइ डु वुमेन फिल दिस डेस्परेट निड टु गो अब्रड के हैन त्यो त खानै नपाएर हो नि त लाउनै नपाएर हो नि त त्यहाँ चाहिँ नि वर्क गर्दैन नेपाल सरकार अनि 5 लाख ब्याङ्कमा हाल अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्नु पर्ने यान त्यान चाहिने नचाहिने नियम बनाएर बस्छ कि इट्स रियली प्रब्लमेटिक इट्स भेरी प्रब्लमेटिक माइग्रेसन गर्दाखेरि कस्तो हुन्छ भने when you're moving when you're traveling you are faced with your privileges on one hand and then you're faced with your त्यो के भन्छ त्यसलाई lack of privileges as well at the same time so the way you get treated for example at the border just shows you like you're just a third worlder there's a third worlder for example that's coming from somewhere gaunबाट आएको and then he can't fill up the form दिदी मेरो फर्म फिलअप गरिदिनुहोस् न, म यहाँ अङ्गुठा छाप लगाइदिन्छु भन्ने मान्छे र ममा त कति डिफ्रेन्स छ नि त. सो त्यो एकैचोटिमा एकदम स्ट्राइक हुन्छ कि त्यो कुराहरू चाहिँ नि. त्यही हो. I mean, I don't think that the Nepali feminist movement is inclusive at all, but I think we have to create our own spaces within it, होइन. हामीले क्लेम गर्ने हो कि ल तिमीहरूले इन्क्लुड नगरे भने we're going to take it and we're going to take over भन्ने हो कि. I feel like because until that happens, I don't think it's going to change, होइन. यो feminist movement, Nepali feminist movement, it's a complicated topic, because Nepali feminist movement मा लागेको अब कतिजना महिलाहरूले त फेमिनिस्ट लेन्सले नै भ्यू गर्नु हुँदैन होला के, होइन. सो इट्स लाइक म्यान वुमनको भ्यूमा गयो तर पेट्रिआर्कीको भ्यूमा चाहिँ नै गएन के. whereas the root cause of the problem is patriarchy नि, होइन. A man is not my enemy, like you said before, but patriarchy is my enemy. So anybody who embodies patriarchy, it can be anyone, होइन. So that's what we need to fight against भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ नि यो फेमिनिस्ट मुभमेन्टमा लागेकै धेरैजनालाई पनि थाहा छैन होला के, or थाहा छ कि अब खै they don't embody that, होइन. तर यो मुभमेन्टमा चाहिँ नि मेरो कन्ट्रिब्युसन के हो त भनेर चाहिँ नि मैले आफैले त्यो स्पेस क्रिएट गर्नुपर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ कि मलाई. I'm taking over, this is what I'm gonna do whether you like it or not भन्ने चाहिँ नि I think we should do it. That's what I feel.
Before I say anything, I would love to hear more from you. So, अहिले चाहिँ what's happening with the feminist movement? Could you shed some light on that?
I think what's happening right now, I mean, मलाई त कस्तो नामै पनि लिन मन छैन के. नलिउँ है. There's a case of a rapist and a rapist who raped a minor, I suppose, if that's the correct way of putting it, होइन. त्यो मुभमेन्टले चाहिँ नि यो अहिले जे भइरहेछ नि त्यो माइनरको रेपको स्टोरीबाट हाम्रो नेपाली फेमिनिस्ट मुभमेन्टमा भएको जुन त्यो नन फेमिनिजम छ नि ठ्याक्कै देखाइरहेछ जस्तो लाग्छ के. बिकज द फेमिनिस्ट मुभमेन्ट इट्स भेरी एलिट, होइन. It's very not coming from a feminist point of view, not looking at things from a patriarchal viewpoint, होइन. Not understanding the के भन्छ त्यसलाई the power that you have and that you can use, not being accountable to your words, होइन. त्यस्तोमा गइरहेछ के. and feeling attacked, होइन. यो अहिलेको जुन केस भयो त्यो स्टेटमेन्ट आएको थियो अब हाम्रो दुईजना सिनियर फेमिनिस्ट मुभमेन्टको मान्छेहरूलाई. I think the fact that they viewed it as an attack on them and not a chance for them to like really think about what is it that we're doing and how can we actually better the situation, I think that really shows a lack of conversations between us and them, okay? Us and them ma pugyo ke अब चाहिँ नि. And I think that's really sad. I think they are उहाँहरू त हाम्रो त एल्डर्स हो, सिनियर्स हो, होइन. सो उहाँहरूले चाहिँ नि एउटा मुभमेन्ट त गाइड पो गर्नुपर्छ. एन्ड द्याट गाइडेन्स निड्स टु कम फ्रम अ प्लेस अफ अन्डरस्ट्यान्डिङ इच अदर नि, होइन. वी एज यङ पिपल ओर यङ्गर पिपल we're not going to put up with what they and people around them had put up with, होइन. हामी त फाइट ब्याक गर्छौँ र हामी पछिको जेनेरेसनले त हामीभन्दा पनि फाइट ब्याक गर्छ नि त. सो हामीले त उनीहरूको फाइटलाई त सपोर्ट पो गर्ने हो त. I don't think you are my enemy. I think you are my legacy, होइन. So त्यहाँ चाहिँ नि प्रब्लम छ के फेमिनिस्ट मुभमेन्टमा. That's what I feel. भने डिप्लोमेटिकली भने मैले
नेपाली फेमिनिस्ट मुभमेन्टको बारेमा फर मी आई थिङ्क पढेकै छैन के यसको बारेमा. देयर इज नो सोर्स अफ इन्फर्मेसन. साँच्चै भन्नुपर्दा वेयर इज द मुभमेन्ट मेरो लागि कमिङ फ्रम एज अ 23 year old, होइन. कहाँ छ, के भइरहेछ, आई हेभ नो आइडिया, नो क्लू. अनि नाउ the only reason I know is I've entered Twitter. I've kind of started talking to elderly women, होइन. किन भन्दाखेरि what's happening with us is we're dealing with menstrual exclusion को कुरा. We're talking with our friends about it. We're like, यो भएन हुन्छ नि. यस्तो ल ल्यायो अरे, let's put up a Facebook status हुन्छ नि. We don't know where exactly is the movement. We don't know what is the movement? Because movement भन्ने बित्तिकै it's something political, right?
Yeah.
You look at Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
Okay? Even as a passive observer, if I knew I were in the States, I know I would have gone with the placard and protested. Okay? नेपालमा movement भनेर त where can I go and stand up with the placard? कहाँ गएर बस्ने कसरी बस्ने कि I am scared about my body, I am scared about, I don't even know if I have friends who would come with me. अनि they won't. किन भन्दा उनीहरूको पनि पढाइ छ, पढाइ कन्टिन्यू गर्नु पर्यो, यहाँ जानु पर्यो, त्यहाँ जानु पर्यो. So where is this space where we, younger people, there are these mind-blowing young people who know so much more than me. How do we bring them together? How do we tell them what has happened historically? How do we get them connected with people like, I don't know, Dr. Niti and Dr. Meena and all these amazing women who are actually writing and reading excessively on these things. So I think it would be an appeal to all of these, our guiders, the way that there are others. So perhaps create this sort of space where we can either just come and hear your talk or this purely feminist space. Okay? Because
discussions
गर्नलाई अनि अर्को कुरा हामीले feminist भनेर त भन्ने तर केलाई feminist भन्ने केलाई who defines what feminism is?
I think this lack of theoretical knowledge, I think this is definitely something that needs to be addressed. Like Chaukhatle paile time they would have like book readings and discussing various authors and ideas and feminism kai pani workshops haru huन्थ्यो के like theory ma कुरा गर्थ्यो के तर चौखटै एक्टिभ नभएको कति भइसक्यो हैन so that space is no longer there but I think it's very necessary के because until we understand theory मैले अघि भने नि like कति महिलाहरू त they are not feminists के हैन अघि तिमीले दिएको एक्जाम्पल जस्तो एउटा इस्युमा बोल्ने हो हैन तर त्यो feminist lens ले नहेर्ने because त्यो feminist lens भने के हो नि नबुझेपछि त्यो स्टडी नै नभएपछि त then how do you what is feminism then? I think this needs to be talked about and feminism bhaneko women's issues matre haina ni ta haina it's a whole broad thing that we need to address when we talk about feminism so I think that's important. Identity.
Identity.
I think generally as people hamro identity is completely multi-layered haina. Then as women also, there's so many intersections that make our identity. So as Nepali women, our identities are purai mishmash cha jasto लाग्छ के मलाई. There's no one thing, हैन? My idea of who I am as a Nepali woman and your idea of who you are as a Nepali woman is completely different and it should be and we should allow for that, हैन? म चाहिँ नि भनौँ न एकदम अर्बन बेस्ड काठमाडौँमा जन्मेर हुर्केर पढेर विदेश गएर पढेर आएर काम गरेर करियर फोकस्ड हुने पनि एउटा आइडेन्टिटी हो हैन the same way somebody that lost a loved one in the conflict which I didn't have to be a part of because my privilege made sure that I was away from the country during the time of the conflict, but she comes from a place of extreme marginalization because of where she was during the conflict, what she had to deal with. Usko identity is also Nepali. कुनै बेपत्ता परिवारको छोरीको आइडेन्टिटी र मेरो आइडेन्टिटी चाहिँ नि एउटै हुँदैन हैन but we're both equal. कोही चाहिँ नि जन्मेर हुर्केकै विदेशमा हुन सक्छ हैन raised by Nepali parents उसको आइडेन्टिटी पनि नेपाली नै हो if he or she considers himself as or herself as a Nepali they're Nepali why not हैन who are we to say that नेपालमै जन्मिनु पर्छ भन्ने पनि त हैन नि हैन so के हो त आइडेन्टिटी भन्ने question and identity is very personal to us I think and I think जसरी हामीले आफ्नो आइडेन्टिटी एक्सेप्ट गर्छौं र त्यो मल्टी लेयर्स within our own identity एक्सेप्ट गर्छौं we have to be equally accepting of somebody else's identity के that you are not this भन्न चाहिँ नि हामीले अलि मिल्दैन जस्तो लाग्छ त्यही हो मेरो आइडेन्टिटीमा है
तर त्यो क्वेशन कि who is a Nepali woman भनौं न हो त क्वेशन चाहिँ ल you're barely navigating what it is to be a woman. Nepali भन्ने कुरा एड गरिदियो. I don't even know what it means to be a Nepali. Because मान्छेहरूले भन्छ नि ओ तिमी जस्तो युवाहरू नेपालमा चाहिन्छ भनेर कि. And as selfish as it sounds, मेरो दिमागमा चाहिँ ल नेपालले चाहिँ के गर्यो त होइन as a state भइकन. It was as much as you know कि you're living off your parents को money यताउति हुन्छ नि their support. Where did Nepal come in? And why is it that I have to identify myself as a Nepali woman? Ani, just as I there's never going to be a universal Nepaliness, universal identity. Sabko family ko basis now, like without families, or kati people they have families and they just can't do it with their families. So I don't know. It should be at least. Ideally चाहिँ नेपालमा अब हामीले set of criteria जस्तै अब caste, class, gender, geographical location हो यिनीहरूको कुराहरू गर्दाखेरि पनि त it's not inclusive नि त. Identity भनेर तिमीलाई स्टेटले सरकारकै रूपमा पनि दिएको छैन. अनि it's pretty sad कि त्यो जस्तै अब मधेसी कोटा छ मधेसी दलितलाई कोटा खै त. So these things of the identity चाहिँ state level बाटै बुझ्नु पनि पर्ने छ. Because political representation भएन भने त फेरि it's not going to do anything.
The 11th one.
Care work and career. That care work is not a career is in itself problematic. Right? That means somebody is doing the work for uni and that person is not getting paid for it or they're getting very little paid for it. Right? So I think त्यो care work is a career भन्ने concept चाहिँ I think we need to work on that. My mother बिहान उठेदेखि राति सुतुन्जेलसम्म she does care work for us. खाना पकाउने यहाँ गर्ने त्यहाँ गर्ने घर म्यानेज गर्ने त्यो गर्ने यो गर्ने सबै गर्छ नि त. She'll never get paid हैन. And she feels like she doesn't have a career. She's educated, master's degree छ मेरो ममको हैन. तर मैले चाहिँ नि कहिले मेरो करियरै केही गर्न पाइन भन्ने एक किसिमको छ. She has that हैन. But it's also because she's been made to feel that what you're doing is not a career. What you're doing यो त तिम्रो रोल हो. तिमीले त गर्नै पर्छ. तिमीले त घरको फ्यामिलीलाई हेर्नै पर्छ हैन. You don't get paid for this kind of stuff, no? So patriarchy को कुरा गर्दा again this goes back to the root of patriarchy is that the care work provided in our homes, which is usually the role of the woman, is unpaid labor. It's basically slavery. And women have been slaves for families for thousands of years. We don't get paid for it. We just do it. I think that whole idea needs to be broken, okay? And then तिमीले भने जस्तो त्यो ideal mother के that's really a problem. आमा भने त यस्तो हुनुपर्छ. आमाले त सबै sacrifice गरेर आफ्नो फ्यामिलीलाई हेर्नुपर्छ भन्छ नि. Yeah, because you're benefiting off of that. You're benefiting off of your mother's labor. That's why you would say something like that, हैन? So that's wrong के. मलाई चाहिँ नि and the women are made to feel guilty for wanting to have a career as a mother. म त 3 महिनाको मेरो छोरीलाई त घरमा छोडेर म त अफिस जान थालेँ नि त. So I was breastfeeding her. At a certain time, I have to get like breast pumps, हैन, दूध छोडेर जाने बच्चाको लागि, सो बाहिर जाने, काम गर्ने, यस्तो यस्तो भयो हैन. अनि त्यसपछि there's certain त्यो के गिल्ट के आफूलाई पनि आउने के त्यो नेचुरली नै गिल्ट आउने हो कि त्यो सोशली गिल्ट आउने हो कि म अफिसमा आएर के हुन्छ र हैन आई शुड स्पेन्ड टाइम विथ माई चाइल्ड भनेर. अनि त घर बसे भने पनि अनि रिस उठ्ने के एकदम त्यो आफैलाई एकदम ओ माई गड दिस इज नट माई लाइफ भने जस्तो कि आई कान्ट जस्ट बी अ boob machine to my child, no? I'm a thinking individual. I need to think, I need to study, I need to experience life. Esto pani hune ke tyo dichotomy le ekdam garo parne ke. It's really difficult as a woman when you want to have a career and a child and this kind of stuff, okay? And all that is based on this simple assumption that care work is unpaid work. There.
Interesting. I was reflecting here, and I've always looked at women who have kids and it don't work. I was like, and I'm like, के गरेको कस्तो केही पनि कामै नगरेको हुन्छ नि, like you should be contributing financially भनेर के. That is the only lens हुन्छ नि that I'm looking at it.
That's not right, ni?
Yeah.
Exactly. त्यो मैले actually I remember a friend of mine wrote, or it was like some UN ko data or something like this, ke that only 15% of women in India work भनेर. And I took huge offense to that. के you mean only 15% get paid for their work, the rest of the 85% don't, हैन? त्यो हो नि त प्रब्लम त. अनि हामीले पनि तिमीले भने जस्तो लाइक मैले पनि मेरो ममलाई जहिले पनि त्यही भन्थे, घर बसेर के गर्छौ तिमी दिनभरि भनेर, त्यस्तो टाइपको हैन सोच्थ्यो नि त. But now I realize like shit, she gave up her whole life so we could thrive and blossom.
Yeah.
Would you like to say something to our audience who are watching this?
Many times we feel that we're the only ones who are thinking this way, or we're the only ones, I'm fighting this all on my own, and this sort of things. Maybe you are, maybe within your whole social environment, within your whole friend circle, family circle, you're the only one fighting. But that fight is a good fight. Okay? And it gets tiring at times. It will get tiring for sure. But keep going as much as you can, to the extent as much as you can. If you can, again, maybe this is coming from a privileged position, but maybe if you can, it's either to leave that place or either to change the surrounding or to perhaps accept it and do as much as you can to make sure that you're at a better place. Okay? I think this comes to your concept book, but which book is it? I think
one of the books.
Yeah, one of the books, one of the books. But yeah, and also at a certain point in time, as you keep on having these conversations, you will find the right people. Okay, you will find the people who will add on to what you just said. Okay, maybe they won't agree with you, but the fact that a discussion is happening, you can converse with someone, is also a great step. Okay, so just keep going.
It's really important, I think, to have a kind of a support system, that whether they're your friends or your colleagues or whatever, who can totally understand where you're at and where you're coming from, and just like the vent गर्ने ठाउँ चाहिने रहेछ के. The older you get, the smaller your friend circle become, and त्यसपछि you just have a select few people around you, okay? And then त्यो चाहिने you have to really think about who these people are, who can listen to you and fully understand what you're going through. I think as feminists, this is really important. Okay? I have a really good friend, and we don't like bad छम हामी जहिले पनि मोरी साली भन्ने पनि गाली गर्छौं एकअर्कालाई हैन. तर I know that when there's something that I'm just like, oh my god, like people are just not understanding me जस्तो भयो भने चाहिँ I can always reach out to her and be like, यस्तो भयो, and she's going to see it ठ्याक्कै मेरै point of view बाट देख्छ के. So that's very important to kind of nurture that relationship, I think. I think as women, what we often do is, your uncared work, unpaid work, हाम्रो कति time जान्छ के. And the more you get like responsibilities, family ko responsibility, बच्चा हेर्ने, काममा जाने, यस्तो भएपछि चाहिँ we have very little time for ourselves के. तर त्यो little time for ourselves मा पनि we need to maintain our relationships, especially with people who think like us. That's very important for our sanity, I think.
Thank you, Pooja ji and Aakriti ji, for this insightful conversation and for being candid. We surely have learned a lot and have so much to reflect upon. To our viewers, please note that we also have the first part of this conversation. Do watch it as well. The link to the first part is in the description below. We hope this episode gives room to have a conversation within your network and circles and reflect on your journey.